Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome back to the Airbus A300. It's been a little while since we've flown this one, and I think it's most certainly worth it coming back to it and giving it another try. So we're standing in Brussels today and we're going to fly over to Paris for, well, around about a 30-minute flight operated by DHL on a weekly basis. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Of course, we will also be using Sane Tensions AI today, which is the sponsor of this video. So if you like the ATC that you are going to see today, then be sure to check it out using the link in the video description below. And now, let's get started. So we start by actually turning on our batteries here, 1, 2, and 3. Then we check the hydraulic panel, make sure that the electric pump is switched off, the wipers are both in the off position, landing gear lever is down, sled flap handle is up, the reverse levers are down, fuel levers off, weather radar is off. Okay, so then we can go ahead and give the airplane a little while to power up over here with the external power on. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and run right over into the EFB, my flight, and import our Simbrief flight plan. Here we are. So, we are departing Brussels, and you can see weather is good, clear skies, 11 degrees 1020, and the same is the case at our destination over in Paris. So, let's view the flight plan here for a moment, and just scroll all the way down to get you guys an idea of what these things look like. Or at least in theory. Looks like Anybuilds doesn't actually depict the charts over here. That's fine with me though. So everything's set over here, and if we look at our plan, departing at 7 we arrive, well, like 7 minutes early. No limiting factors in terms of our weight. 24 tons of cargo are supposed to be on board today, and heading down into the fuel section, off block or takeoff fuel 11 tons plus 800 taxi, so 12 tons of fuel should be just about perfect for today's flight, and I really don't see why we should take any more than that. So let's go into the weight and balance, and down here we've got to find something weighing about 24 tons. I'll tell you what, we'll go custom cargo from Simbrief then, and this is looking good. We are going to change the fuel slightly here to become 12 tons, like this, apply load to aircraft, and here we go. So far so good. And with our payload in, we can also tell GSX to prepare for boarding, which is going to start our cargo loading. In the meantime, they started to refuel the aircraft down here. We can probably see it a little bit better over here. So refueling is going on. Our aircraft has powered, so then let's go ahead and do the APU fire test. So loop test. And script test. Both of them are looking good. Temperatures are okay, though we don't need the APU just yet. External power is on. Let's also turn the galley on already so that we can get ourselves some coffee over there. Well then, IRS mode selectors 1, 2, 3 are going into nav, and then oxygen on. Light test.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
Is looking good. Alright, and VHF radios as needed, so for that let's head right on here and into the Navigraph app, which is of course not connected just yet. So let's quickly do that off screen over here, approve that and allow. Alright, that's looking better. So let's see, Brussels and airport. So, D8 is for departure, 121-755.
Advise on initial contact, you have information Victor. Brussels Airport, information Victor. 0620 Zulu. Wind 045 at 3. Cavite. Temperature 11. Dew point 9. QNH 1020. Density altitude -400 feet. Transition level 50. Arriving runways 25R, 25L, 19. Departing runways 25R, 19. Advise on initial contact, you have information Victor.
Okay, so runway 25 right is in use. Well, that's perfectly fine for us. So then, delivery 1219R55. And ground north 118055. Like this, perfect. So parking brake is set, and looks like they have started loading already. Very, very good. Let's go ahead and open the forward cargo door as well. So main cargo open. Alright, cool. Then let's go ahead and start with some initial FMS stuff. We're going from... Okay, Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo to Lima Fox Papa Golf. And that's looking good. Alternate is Paris or Lee. The coordinates make sense, so let's hit align IRS. Well, and then we can start our cockpit preparation, which is basic Airbus stuff, so just make sure that all the white lights are out. Voice recorder comes on, strobe light, nav and logo light. We are gonna wait with those up here until IRS alignment is finished, then we can turn on the pitch trim, and with that the FCU. No, not you. You? So, engine 1 fire test. And squib test. Looking good. Then down here, we don't need the APU just yet. Refueling, I think it's finished now. Yeah, 12 tons are on board, so we can turn the fuel pumps on. Okay, up here everything is set. Over here, window and pro peak coming on. Then we can do the test again. So that's looking good, and the squib test. I'm always so afraid of hitting the APU fire test button when I go over here. So emergency lights should definitely be an arm and not an on. Alright, but up here everything is set. Then we can go forward to the main panel. QNH 1020 is already set. Then let's go ahead and set the altitude marker there as well. Okay, the standby is aligned. We can't do the brake check, unfortunately. Normally I turn the brake anti-skid switch off, but the sim requires me to release the chocks for that as well. So normally you put that off, release the parking brake, then the brake pressure should go down, then you would apply the pedals. Well, unfortunately, we can't do that in here. So landing field elevation I think should be somewhere close to 0. But we do actually need some charts to verify that. So let's go over to Paris. Arrival and... Come on, Paris. Arrival. Just give me any star here. Airport elevation is 400. That's what we wanted to know. Like this. Okay, landing gear warning test is looking good. Alright, we don't need to tune any ILS just yet. Radio frequencies are tuned. And here we go. We don't need an ADF at the moment. Transponder into above. And you are going to listen to 1 and 2, transmit on 1, and listen to the intercom as well. Weather radar 5 degrees up, though it's not simulated at the moment. We go into weather, and that's everything we could do down here at the moment. Okay, so since I have no idea which departure we're actually going to get, let's go ahead and grab our clearance before we do anything else down here. Okay, so delivery 121955 should be correct as far as I can tell. Then let's go for it. Brussels delivery, Postman 400, information Victor, request clearance to Paris.
Postman 400. Information Victor is current. Clear to Charles de Gaulle via the CIV. 2L departure runway 19er. Initial climb to 6,000 feet. Departure on 127.575 squawk 1000.
Postman 400 is cleared to Paris via Chevre to Lima, departure runway 19er. Climb altitude 6,000, departure frequency 127.575 squawk 1000.
Postman 400, read back correct. Ground will be on 118.055.
118.055, Postman 400. Okay, cool. So the squawk is 1000. 127.575. Do we have a third radio where we can pre-select this? I think we don't, huh? Oh yeah, we do. Great. But it's not even animated, so... Normally I would just dial it in up here, but... looks like that's not simulated. Okay. Yeah, well, then we just write it down, and that's it. Okay, cool. So, cost NX30, cruise flight level 190, flight ID is the Postman 400. So, flight plan, Brussels, SIT 19, Chevre to Lima, insert. So then, from Chevre, proceed by Yankee 50 towards Martix. And then arrival in Paris. It will be, let's see, I think runway 8 right? Yeah, 8 right. Martix 9 hotel arrival. Martix 9 hotel, and then we just gotta check the charts to see where that leads us. So to Lorny, so then it's going to be a Lorny transition. It looks like there are 2 of them everywhere, so let's go ahead and pick the right one. Did you know that there are just far too many arrivals in Paris? And I can't even find the right one. Okay, tell you what, doesn't matter. Let's just enter something here. Lorny 7 Echo, and we will most likely get radar vectors anyway. If not, we can still change it when ATC actually clears us. Alright, so that's our routing in. Then let's go ahead and cross-check our charts to make sure it is correct. So, Chivre to Lima, where is it? Here it is. So, straight at 700, left turn waypoint 012. Speed maximum 250 or clean speed, whatever is higher. Not a problem. And compulsory for destinations within Paris TMA via Yankee 50. That's exactly what we're doing. So they gave us the correct departure over here. Cool, the initial climb is also correct with 6,000. And then via waypoints 12, 14 towards Chivre. And we got 12, 14 and Chivre. Alright, looking perfect. So then, onto the init page. Let's go ahead and initialize our weights here. So, weight and balance. Let's see, zero fuel, 104. Like this, block fuel 12. Then let's check our fuel weights as well. So, alternate is 5 tons and final reserve 2.1. Like this. Right, that's good, 7 minutes extra. Excellent. So, then let's go on to the takeoff and approach page. Takeoff calculator. Runway 19, synchronize. And that's all looking good. So we have 65 degrees flex, 140, 140, 142. So, reduction in acceleration at 1,000 above ground, that seems correct. Alignment is finished, then we can turn on the pitch trim. And with that our FCU comes to life, so let's dial in 142. And then preset, what's the clean speed? 200. That's good, so 6,000 and runway heading. So we do need the parking stands and the airport. And the runway heading is 193. Okay, perfect. So down here you can give me a flex takeoff at 60 degrees. 1.416 CPR, and that's actually not listed over here. Okay, and it should be 65 degrees. Okay, beautiful. So that's pretty much everything we need down here. With that, we are finished with our FMS setup. We are finished with pretty much everything. So let's go ahead and do our departure briefing. So, today we're departing Brussels, runway 19, Chivre to Lima departure, initial is 6,000, MSA 2,200, extra fuel 7 minutes, and that's in the form of around a ton or so. Alright, thanks for that. So, our taxi has one hotspot, that's the crossing of runway 25 right. So, over here, that's the hotspot. And then we got to verify onto which taxiway we're going. Second hotspot, actually down here at the holding point. So we got to see most likely Echo 7 for the departure. We're not critical anyway, 3 kilometers of runway, so I'm not worried about that one at all. Now, in case of engine out, or let's start with any abnormals on the ground. Actually, we have more than plenty of stop margin available, so that's nothing to worry about. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles. If something happens, we're not going to do the departure turn, otherwise, of course, we do it. Just for noise abatement over here, of course. Now, if we make an immediate return, 25 right is active, 25 left available as well. Both runways are long enough for us. We are below the maximum landing weight, so that is not an issue either, and with that out of the way, I have nothing non-standard, nothing special over here. So if you have nothing more, then I would say we can go ahead and do the before start checklist down to the line. So that's cockpit preparation completed, signs on auto, fuel quantity, 12,000 kilograms balanced, navigation checked and set, landing elevation 400 set, altimeters, QNH 1020 reading 150 set left and right, brake any skid, norm on, before start check was complete down to the line. Very good. So, that much for the basics. Then let's start up the APU. Master switch on, fuel pumps are on anyway, and start. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That start button here. Interesting how close they are to one another. Luckily the ignition switch isn't off by default, so pressing that engine starter did nothing, but very interesting. So APU is starting, or at least it will be in a few moments once the flaps are open. In the meantime, let's go to the ground equipment here, close this door, close this door. How about GSX? Prepare for pushback and departure. APU starting, doors are closing, very quick check back here that they are indeed properly closed. Of course the arming indicators are not simulated here. This is in armed, okay, perfect. So that's looking good, and the cargo door is latched as well. Closed latched. Okay, wonderful. So, cargo seems okay, final figures are already on board. Then let's close the door. And let's get to it. So, doors are closed, APU running, beautiful. So, remove chocks, remove GPU. Ground cockpit. Go ahead. So, please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed, Captain. Roger, thank you. We call you back for pushback in a moment. Brussels ground, Postman 400, request pushback and startup.
Postman 400, pushback and startup approved, face northeast.
Pushback and startup approved, face northeast, Postman 400. Before start checklist below the line, windows and doors. Closed, beacon on, park and brake. Set, before start checklist complete. Ground from flight deck. So, pushback approved, facing northeast, park and brake set. So it's going to be facing east then. Okay, release brakes. Brakes released. Roger, start on the push, stand by for engine start. Alrighty, and with that, we're on our way. So let's go back to the Navigraph charts here and the airport chart. So tower is going to be 18605. We can pre-select that. Like this. Beautiful. I like it when things go to plan. Doesn't happen too often, but today it does. So we clear the roads, and with that we're clear to start the engines. Sequence 1 then 2. So, engine 1 start. And we have N2. Oil pressure. N1. So, pushback completed, set brakes. Brake set. And we have a good start on engine 1, starting engine 2. Clear 2. Engine 2 start. N2. N1. Oil pressure. 15%. Fuel on. Ignition. Okay. So, the tuck is already gone, very good, and there's a ramp agent. Pin is seen, clear signal is seen, and we have 2 good starts, clear to disconnect. Have a good day, bye bye. So, the engine got rather warm here, but it's coming back. Alright, looking good. Very well. Okay, so after start checklist, pitch trim 0.1 down, set rudder trim 0, spoilers, arms, slats and flaps 15. Ecam status checked, anti-ice off, hand signal received after start checklist complete. Postman 400, request taxi.
Postman 400, taxi to runway 19er via November 2, Alpha 6, cross runway 07 left, then Bravo 9er, Bravo 8, outer 2, outer 3, outer 4, outer 5, outer 6, Bravo 1.
Postman 400, taxi holding point runway 19er via November 2, Alpha 6, cross runway 07 left, Bravo 9er, Bravo 8, outer, Bravo 1. Okay, clear on the right side, clear on the left side. So initially November 2, Alpha 6, cross the runway and then onto the outers. Parking brake released. Let's go, brake check. Pressure 0. And a very small throttle calibration thing here. That's the idle position, so start calibration, idle is set. Yeah, that would be Toga. For some reason it really loves to ruin my configuration and only gives me throttle from about half the axis. All indie-built aircraft tend to do that, but once you set it once or twice, then it normally works fine. So let's go a little bit higher so that we can see something. So Alpha 6, and we clear the cross, runway 07 left, clear on the right side, and as far as we can tell, clear on the right side. Okay, still clear right side and clear left side. So then left onto the outers. Okay, flight control check, please. Looks like we're gonna open the page manually in the A300. So, full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder, yeah, it works. Okay, great. Then let's do the taxi flow pattern. I have no changes to our briefing. So takeoff config is okay. Strobe light is going back in an auto. Before takeoff checklist down to the line, please. Flight controls, checked, briefing, confirmed, sleds flaps, 15-15, performance and FMAs, 140, 140, 142. Takeoff config, check, transponder, set, before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. So now let's look into our further taxi. So after the outers, it's just Bravo 1. Okay, that's easy. So over here, and then we'll get to line up over there via Echo 7. Just a small note in case you're wondering, in the real world ATC would normally not say all the numbers of the outer taxiways here or of the inner taxiways. It would just say via outer. That's why I read it back that way as well. So, clear skies, speeds are discussed, and if any emergency happens, straight at 25, 3,000 feet. Can come back onto either runway 25s or 07s. 25 of course is the preferred option here in Brussels, because they do have a precision coach available there. So we're approaching the second hotspot now. Runway 19 is the one to the right. Bravo 1 is straight ahead, and then to the right. So that's the Cat 2 holding point here. We can cross this one.
Postman 400. Contact tower on 118.605.
118.605, Postman 400. Okay, let's stop here just for a moment. So, departure will be 127575. just set. Apart from that, we don't need to do much. And just to be sure, we did calculate packs off, did we? Yes, air conditioning off. Okay. Brussels Tower, past man 400 heavy, ready for departure.
Postman 400 Heavy, Brussels Airport Tower, runway 19er, wind 065 at 3, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 19er, cleared for takeoff, Postman 400. Alright, so... Cabin, prepare for departure. Now, let's attempt and see something. Before takeoff checklist, below the line, please. And the approach area is clear. So, cabin secure, TCAS, Tara, packs off, ignition off, and anti-ice off. Before takeoff checklist, below the line complete. Okay, ready? Takeoff. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 100 knots, checked. V1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. Nav.
Postman 400, contact departure on 127.575.
127.575, Postman 400. Flap 0. Speed check, flap 0. And slap 0. Speed check, slap 0. Brussels, good morning, Postman 400 heavy, passing 2000, climbing flight level 60.
Postman 400 Heavy, Brussels departure, identified.
Okay. So, enough hand flying. Command 1. Okay, approaching. Vertical speed.
Postman 400 Heavy, Brussels departure, climb flight level 190.
Climb flight level 190, Postman 400 heavy. So, profile thrust, profile climb, 19,000 blue. All checked, set standard. Standard, thrust check, passing flight level 59. Now, after takeoff climb checklist. Slats flaps, retracted, landing gear, up. And neutral, packs, on, altimeters, standard set. After takeoff climb checklist complete. So here's the reason why we had to do that right hand turn. Lots of cities down there. And as you can see, we are nicely flying over these fields over here. That's the reason why the SID is designed the way it is designed. Always find it nice to look at these things, just because it gives you that idea of what's actually going on. So, 10,000, lights off, signs off, and pressurization is nicely building. So, nothing in the FMS that we could clean up. Let's go to airports. Didn't need the constraints really. Okay, looking good. Postman 400, request to proceed direct Matix.
Postman 400, proceed direct to Matrix.
Proceed direct Matix, Postman 400. So, direct to Matix, that should easily shove off a minute or so. So, 125 miles to run, easy going. Well, and then, let's see where our top of descent is. Around 70 miles out or so. That's not too bad. Well then, let's go ahead and start getting out some Paris charts. So, we don't need any of those Brussels anymore. Paris, arrival. So, Matrix 9 Echo and Hotel, let's see. Maximum 300 knots, then Barkos, Enori, Devon below 160, Lawney between 111 and 150. So Enori, that looks okay, and Devon looks okay as well. Actually, no it doesn't. So Devon should be below 160.
Postman 400, contact Brussels Control on 125.0.
125.0, Postman 400. So, why can I not change the frequency? Because the park and brake clicks was blocking, okay. Brussels Control, Postman 400 Heavy, passing flight level 166, climbing 190. Approaching.
Postman 400, Brussels Control identified.
Vertical
Hi.
speed. Yep, hi. Okay, so VS 1000 and 1000 to go. So
Postman 400, Brussels Control, expect the Matty Niner Hotel arrival. Descent in about 10 minutes. Just say the word if you'd like to start down earlier.
Matix 9 Hotel arrival, Postman 400. Wonderful. So Matix 9 Hotel is exactly what we've programmed. Lovely. So then, Devon below 160 and Lawney between 150 and 110. Perfect. Speed 300 is good as well. I like it. So let's go ahead and get the arrival weather. 127130. It's a little hard to read here.
Aero Zulu. Wind 035 at 7.
Alt.
Cav OK. Temperature 13.
P-speed, P-out.
2.7. QNH 1018. Density altitude 100 feet. Transition level 55. Arriving runways 08 left, 08 right. Departing runways 08 left, 09er right, 09er left, 08 right. Advise on initial contact you have information Sierra. Charles de Gaulle International Airport, information Sierra. 0730 Zulu. Wind 035 at 7. Cab OK. Temperature 13. 2.7. QNH 1018. Density altitude 100 feet. Transition level 55.
Alright, ATC is copied, that's all we need.
Postman
Transponder on to
400,
below.
contact Paris Control on 128.105.
128.105, Postman 400. Paris Control, Postman 400 Heavy, flight level 190.
Postman 400, Paris Control, identified. Good morning.
Alright. Cool, so that's that stuff. Then let's go ahead and have a little look into the arrivals. So we've already checked our star speed is maximum 300, so as long as we stay slower that's not a problem. And, well, what do we have? Nothing there. Winds, well, just 9 knots. I'm not gonna care about that. So, the planned speed on the descent is 285. That's totally fine with me. That's below the 300 as well. And then approaches. Let's see. 08 right most likely. So it's probably this chart over here. And then we need the actual ILSs. So ILS 08 right is pinned. Now let's go for the parking stand charts. Here's the freight terminal already. And then 08 left right. That's the one, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's looking good. Perfect. Cool. Cargo terminal is all the way over here. This is basically right over here. And we'll be parking somewhere up here today. Alright, cool. So, let's see, ILS 08 right, 108.55. Like this, course 084. Like this, minimum is 537. So something like here. Okay, 3200 is the MSA. Approach itself will be radar vectored. Well, that's all we need. So, that much for our setup. Then let's do some landing calculations. Airport chart doesn't tell me a runway length over here, lovely. But it's some 2,500 meters, a little bit longer. Know that much. So, landing runway 08 right. What do they say here? 2,700, perfect. Synchronize all the rest, including the weight, that's good. Dry. Full, calculate. Okay, that's too easy. Let's do auto brake low. 1,870. And if we do flaps 15 landing, 2,020. Yeah, let's go flaps 4. Just so that the factor distance doesn't get too close to the full length. Okay, cool. So then, let's go for the briefing. MSA 3200, and we are doing the Matix 9 hotel arrival, radar vectors after Lorny. We do have the 7 Echo transition in our FMS though, so we can always fly that if needed. ILS approach 08 right, minimums 540. Let's set that over here as well. And extra fuel and time. So fuel prediction, let's see, 8 minutes extra, 600 kilograms. Okay, thanks. Flight rector guided, ILS approach, runway 08 right, flaps 30, respectively 40. So 30, 40 is selected. We have no specials, we have nothing non-standard here. Idle reverse, auto brake slow, vacate the runway to the left, hotspots for taxiing, crossing off runway 08 left, which is a departure runway, so very good look on the left side to make sure that there's nobody coming. Apart from that, no specials, nothing non-standard here. Rather complicated taxi, so we are mentally prepared to get something very interesting over here. And that's really all there is to it. Any questions? No? Beautiful, I like that. So that's our briefing completed. We don't have any descent checklist to do, so that's that.
Zero, Paris control cleared Mati Niner. Hotel arrival into De Gaulle whenever you like. Descend flight level 0, ligne 0.
That was a very French accent. Postman 400 cleared Matic Niner hotel arrival. When ready, descend flight level 090. Flight level 90 blue. And we are on the Matic 9 hotel arrival already. Okay, so one very small thing that I did notice over here with sane tensions is that they do always skip the last letter of the arrival. I think I know why that is. They probably take it straight from the nav data, and you can see over here it's only called Mati 9 Hotel as well. But of course the correct name of the star that ATC would use is Matic with that G at the end. So Matic 9 Hotel arrival. That's the or Matic's 9 Hotel. The reason this happens is very likely that they simply take the data right from the FMS nav database, and over here it's only 4 digits, but they should rework that so that ATC pronounces the arrivals correctly. And that's definitely feedback that I'm going to give them. Okay, profile speed, profile descent. And down we go. I just love it. 17 minutes in the air. We're flying a wide-body aircraft here, a heavy aircraft. And the thing just really gets you onto such short flights. It's amazing. I really, really like it. Alright, and here we are on the profile. That actually looks pretty good. So Devon is 5 miles out. We gotta lose 2,000 feet. That's definitely possible. And with this ground speed, 3-degree descent would be 1,500 feet a minute. We're doing 2,000, so that works out. The VNAV calculation is correct there. Alright. So after Lorne, we'll need radar vectors unless they clear us for anything different. So retard. So the cabin is descending. That's all looking good. Yield elevation 400 is correct as well. Lovely.
Postman 400, contact de Gaulle approach on 119er, decimal 85.
119er decimal 85. Postman 400. De Gaulle approach, Postman 400 heavy, passing flight level 155, descending flight level 90.
Postman 400 heavy, De Gaulle approach identified. Salute, expect the ILS runway 8 right approach into De Gaulle.
Expect ILS runway 8 right, Postman 400. So I'm just going to try something. We'll just fly overhead Lorny here and see what happens. In the real world I would ask for a continued route now, or they would probably just have cleared us long ago, but...
Postman 400, descend flight level 060, turn right, heading 270, vectors for the ILS runway 8 right approach.
Postman 400, descend flight level 060, turn right, heading 270, vectors ILS 8 right. That was perfect! Here's our vectors. So heading 070, then let's do 1,000 feet a minute over here just to give them something consistent. We'll keep the flight plan in for the time being, just in case they do send us direct to somewhere. But I think overall this is looking pretty good. We have some 60 miles to run, so our altitude is looking pretty good. A little bit below the 3-degree profile, but that's totally fine with me. So we got a DME here. It's 17 DME Bravo Sierra November. That's interesting. Actually, I'm confusing stuff here. For a moment I was mentally in my 737, where you don't have a dedicated ILS receiver, but where it's co-coupled to the VOR, so I was like, wait a moment, if we're receiving a DME here that's located somewhere there, 30 miles from De Gaulle Airport, that can't be right. Turns out it isn't the case because we have separate radios here. Different aircraft, different logic. Okay then, so things are going quite well here. Now, right now there really isn't that much to do except for enjoying the beautiful views outside. And the beautiful weather. Now it would of course be nice if we had a little bit of traffic flying around. They are working on that, so it should be there soon. No, just so that it doesn't get like totally quiet, we're the only ones flying. I'm not saying that that is not necessarily realistic during those post-flight operations here. But then we should of course be flying this at like 2 AM in the morning, and then we probably wouldn't hear any other aircraft during such a flight. But since we're flying this at like, what is it now, summertime, 9:48 AM, there should of course be a little bit of traffic. But it's coming, hopefully soon. It's an interesting looking flight deck, isn't it? Especially the combination between steam gauges and then something super modern like the ECAM. It's always amazing to think about the fact that this ECAM down here has functionally a lot of the same logics as the A320.
Postman 400, turn left, heading 240.
Turn left, heading 240, Postman 400. So, heading 240. It's interesting that from a functional point of view, you have almost the same as in the A320, A330 aircraft. on this ECAM. And then again, there are so many steam gauges in this cockpit. It's a fascinating aircraft, isn't it? Alright, we're approaching 10,000. Speed down to 50. Let's see if we can reduce our speed nicely while at this rate of descent. And looking at the trend vector, we absolutely can. Now if you want to calculate a little bit, at 1,000 feet a minute we need 30 seconds to get down to 10,000, where we got to be at 250. The trend vector shows you the next 10 seconds, so we can tell that it's going to work out almost perfectly. That might be an interesting one for all you virtual airline pilots out there, where the virtual airline gives you a penalty if you're at 251 knots at 9,990 feet. So, 1,000 to go. So, time slides, and well, that's all we have to do over here. So once we're cleared down to an altitude rather than a flight level, aka once we're on QNH, then we can do the approach checklist. But for the time being, everything's easy going over here. So reaching level 60 about here, that's 20 miles from where we need 5,000, so tell you what, let's do like 700 feet a minute over here. Otherwise we are getting a little bit low, a little bit early. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually wanted us to be that low in Paris in the real world. Unfortunately, I never flew into Paris Charles de Gaulle yet. In the real world. But, looking at the arrivals and looking at how low they need you so early, like Lorny 150, that's what, 60 track miles to go, so really a low altitude over here. I would not be surprised if they want us to just keep going down at a normal rate of descent and then just get us that low. Again, Paris is a very complicated airspace structure because you've got de Gaulle, Le Bourget, Orly, and then a little bit further out you have that Ryanair Paris, Beauvais. So pretty complex airspace structure. And then again, they got to provide for VFR traffic as well in the area, so the controlled airspaces are a little bit limited as well, at least the class Alpha Bravo Charlie airspaces. So I think we can clean up the flight plan now. Direct, India Golf, here we go. So how many track miles do we have left? 38, easy going. 2,700 feet below the profile. I wonder how much fuel we are wasting by flying such a low profile here, as obviously designed by the procedure designers in the real world. I wonder how much fuel we're wasting by going that low compared to, you know, a normal idle descent profile where you stay at cruising altitude for longer. It has to be a lot. It really has to be a lot. 8.4 now, so we've already burned 4,000 kilos of fuel on this flight. That's about the amount of gas it takes a 737 to fly from Munich to Palma de Mallorca. So 20 miles to run to the approach point. 1,000 to go. So ILS 08 right, let's open that chart. And it looks like the final approach point is actually that one. There are a couple other runways in Paris where you have one at 5,000, one at 4,000, one at 3,000 and so on. So yeah, I guess they'll actually vector us towards this one over here, which is fine for me. Overall, it means we get to see a little bit of the French countryside, which is fairly beautiful in the real world. Really is. Just out of interest, transition altitude 5,000, okay. So flight level 60 is actually correct. Is actually a correct instruction there. In the real world, I would start to get nervous by the way. If you're on a frequency such as de Gaulle approach, and you don't hear something for such a long time, that's usually an indication that something is wrong and that your radio is doing nonsense. So alt and leveling off in 6,000. And it's complaining about the bandwidth. That's probably because it's starting to load the photogrammetry of Paris right now. Those must be some beautiful villages to live in. Close to Paris, so probably expensive as hell. I don't want to know what the square meter costs down there. Of course, that's Paris over there already. But you get the idea. I think you definitely get the idea. So, we are reaching the beam position, so any left turn would be appreciated now, but I'm not going to ask for it. I want to see what Say Intentions is going to do by themselves.
Postman 400, turn left, heading 205.
Turn left, heading 205, Postman 400. Okay, heading 205. So, speak of the devil, here I am. That vector came right about at the correct time. I told you in the past that the vectoring wasn't optimal yet. I also told you that I had a couple of chats with the developer who is actually doing this vectoring. And look at that, all of a sudden it is going quite a bit better.
Postman 400 heavy, 10 miles from FF08R. Turn left, heading 135, descend flight level 050 until established on the localizer. Clear for the ILS runway 8 right approach.
Postman 400, turn left heading 135, descent level 50, cleared ILS 08 right. And flight level 50 is of course an incorrect instruction, but they are working on that one. Postman 400, request QNH.
Postman 400, QNH 1018.
QNH 1018, Postman 400. Set QNH. QNH 1018, trust check passing 5,500. Actually, that's trust checked. Passing 5,300. Now. Good, so approach checklist, please. Signs. On, briefing, confirmed, ecam status, checked, altimeters, QNH 1018. Minimums, 540, set left, set right. Ignition, off, and landing elevation 400 checked. Approach checklist complete. Alright, so we're receiving something. It does look reasonable as well. Land armed, and then we can start slowing down.
Postman 400, contact the Gaulle Tower on 118.655.
118.655, Postman 400. De Gaulle Tower, Postman 400 Heavy, ILS 08 right. Locks down.
Postman 400 Heavy, the Gold Tower, roger, continue approach.
Roger. So, light headwind. Glide slope is slowly coming up. Sluts 15. Speed check, sluts 15. So let's do 180 knots. Runway heading 084 set. Glide slope star. Go around altitude 5,000 set. Alright, let's see if we can just follow the ILS on idle thrust here, or if we need anything else. But I think idle is working just fine. Wonderful. So we're nicely established. Lights are on, signs are on. Yeah, what else could we ask for? Maybe the scenery to load a little bit better, because that seems a little... Perhaps it wasn't lying about the bandwidth problem. Okay, the speed is slowly increasing. Flaps 15. Speed checked. Flaps 15. Let's do something like 170 knots. What's the flight plan doing down here? Come on. Alright. No further comment on the flight plan. The go around is just straight at 5,000 to waypoint 425 anyway. Thereafter 416, max 5,000 and S directed, so it's straight ahead for 20 miles. So if we need to go around, we'll just give ourselves the direct manually, and that's it.
Postman 400 Heavy, wind 035 at 7, runway 8 right, cleared to land.
Runway 08 right, clear to land. Postman 400 Heavy. Okay, so clear to land.
Postman 400 Heavy, runway 8 right, cleared to land, wind 035 at 7.
You said that already. Runway 8 right, clear to land. Postman 400 Heavy. Okay, so at 2,000 above the ground we will continue to configure. Field elevation is 400, so at 2400 we'll go gear down and start to extend the flaps. So I would appreciate if the terrain could load, because I have to admit, right now it looks super realistic in terms of how a full flight simulator would look like, because that's about the scenery quality you get in a full flight sim. Okay, gear down. Flaps 20. So we approach 126, so we are going to make it 131. And flaps 40. Speed checked, flaps 40, landing checklist. So landing gear down, auto brake, low, any skids, checked, slats flaps, 30, 40, and spoilers armed, landing checklist complete. So we just gotta hope that the runway is going to spawn normally now. Manual flight. Come on. And let's also do manual thrust here. Come on, you definitely gotta give me at least a runway here for landing. Land. Come on, we're not in Flight Sim 2000 over here, are we?
200.
At least a runway? Maybe?
100. 60. 40. 30. 20. 10. 9.
So, spoilers, reverse green, decel. This feels nostalgic. We're flying a 1970s aircraft and the scenery looks like if it is from a 1970s simulator.
Postman 400, welcome to De Gaulle. Contact ground on 121.61.
121.61, Postman 400 Heavy. I think this is an exit. Maybe. Okay, well. Since our simulator unfortunately refuses to load anything here, or is it doing something now? With a bit of luck, maybe? No, it doesn't look like it. Well, so since our simulator unfortunately refuses to load the airport, I'm going to finish the video over here. Nonetheless, I think this was a pretty nice demonstration of how a flight can go pretty well with say intentions. Because I have to say, except for that little clearance to flight level 50, they've done a very good job on this route. Well, and with that out of the way, we are going to finish that video over here. And I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope that you've all enjoyed the flight. Let's do something like this because this looks actually nice. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video and let me know if you think it was a good decision that I posted it, even though the sim acted up on the landing. Really looking forward to your input over here for reference for future videos. But for now, thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in Say Intentions, be sure to check out the link in the video description and the pinned comment below. And as always, if you like the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.